Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Sharon Terhune, the sales manager for Fidelity National Title. Welcome to Market of the Moment. I'm not sure if we did 2 countdowns, Dena, or if that was just fun, but nevertheless, as you can see, my partner in crime has decided to desert me today and not host with me. Not really. He's actually taking a very well-deserved vacation, so I allowed him to do this. I'm really bummed that StreamYard doesn't allow me to have backgrounds because I was going to have Don's face everywhere behind me, and I thought that would be kind of fun. But since he's not here, I can't do that. So we'll just make jokes and have fun all hour long, just, saying how much we missed Don today. So thank you for joining us, though. We're excited, and we have a great show for you today. Before we get going here, I know that we've got Amber, I believe, joining us. She's probably going to pop on here anytime. So Dena, maybe you send her a message and see if she's probably about to hop on here. But I want to make some introductions. I'm obviously joined by our reoccurring guest every single week, Miss Mindy Jones of the Amy Jones Group. And Mindy is going to, and she's over at Keller Williams, Integrity First. Mindy's going to give us a great market update later. And of course, always shares incredible content throughout the hour with us and just add so much value throughout the conversation. So excited, Mindy, that you are here. We will say hi to Amber when Amber gets here, but Amber Kovarik with Guild Mortgage, manager at Guild Mortgage, will also be joining us, giving us hopefully an update on close to free money. I don't know, we talk about free money, but honestly, in the 3%, it's still technically kind of free money, really, any way you look at it. I'm also joined today, and I'm very excited to have, for the first time on here, our Director of Marketing and Social Strategy, Miss Dena Jones with Fidelity National Title. And Dena is joined here today with Xavier. I like to call him Javi. So when you hear that, that's Javi. He has a big long name that we're not going to even pronounce. But he is with New Homepage, and Javi is an incredible resource for us here at Fidelity with some resources that we have. And Dena and Javi are going to actually talk today about the out-of-state buyers. So I'm really excited to hear this conversation. We get asked this all the time, kind of, boy, there's so many folks moving here. Where are these people coming from? Like, and where should I, as a real estate agent, be targeting my efforts? If I am targeting out of state and trying to figure out where they're coming from. So the 3 main things they're going to talk about today is kind of why are they leaving their current state of residence? Why are they all vacating wherever they're vacating? Where are they leaving from? Okay, so that you guys all have a little nugget on maybe where you want to spend some marketing time. And why are they coming here, most importantly? So I'm very excited to hear this conversation. Dena, I'm going to go ahead and let's get right into this conversation. I'm going to hand it over to you right now to go ahead and let's start talking about those out-of-state buyers a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. I know I'm not rocking the Notre Dame gear like Don would be if he was here, but we got to give him a little shout out since we are live on his Facebook.
There you go.
Anybody
there
watching might want to see Don still here, even though he's on an airplane and on a well-deserved vacation.
Absolutely. I almost wore my Notre Dame gear, but I don't have any.
I don't either. The best
I remembered I don't
have
any, so that was disappointing.
I should go put on my USC sweatshirt real quick for Don.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, as soon as you're done, you can go switch and put a different gear on. I like it.
So, yeah, I'm really excited about this conversation. People come to us all the time and they are like, okay, what's the newest, latest, greatest widget, right? But those don't really matter unless you've got a great strategy behind it and you're able to use the resource effectively to just earn more business. So today we are going to be talking about out-of-state buyers. We know they're coming here. Traffic's been heavier than ever. I feel like every time I, get on the freeway, it's like,
yeah,
a lot of California plates these days. So I'm going to do a quick screen share and introduce my friend and partner in crime, Xavier de la Piedra, who is here
He
to
just
share
wants to show off because she knows how to pronounce his name, just so we're all clear.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't say I love rocks. I thought you were going to do it.
I was going to say dog dad, but...
Oh, well, either one works. It's okay.
His name means he loves rocks. So that's good.
Yeah, I love rocks. It's okay. So I'm Javier. I am actually Javier the Fourth, just to show off a little bit for Mindy.
There you go.
And
Hi,
I work for a new homepage, and we're a data company. We also created a FNT farm for Fidelity, and that's who we are. You want to go to the next slide, Dena?
Yeah.
So Arizona definitely has an influx of out-of-state buyers, and a big place that people are coming from is California. But we got to look at why people are leaving, because that's an important reason to understand. Because if you understand why people are leaving, then you understand the marketing that you need to put in front of them. So first, cost of living. Cost of living in Arizona is much cheaper than other places. You look at like a California, you look at like a Washington, you could even look at like a Denver as a place that has just insane cost of living. And not just, buying a house, but you look at the rental market in those areas as well. It's expensive to rent. Gas is getting more expensive here, and we're at about $3 and something a gallon. But you look at Southern California, like in LA, I think last time I was home a couple weeks ago, I paid like $4.30 per gallon to fill up my car, and I have a little 12-gallon tank, and it cost me like $60 to fill up my car. It's just ridiculous. You also have job changes. Arizona is growing, and we're growing fast. We have a lot of things that are happening inside of the valley. You have places like Goodyear that are just popping off with new build after new build. Chandler, out all the way by the airport, looks night and day different than when I moved here 8 years ago. So the amount of growth that we're going through is insane. And I had my uncle and my grandpa in town yesterday, and I was just talking to my uncle about the growth that we were having. He's like, "Dang, I feel like Phoenix has been growing for 30 years." And I was like, "Yeah, we have. We really have a lot of potential for growth, and we have a lot of jobs that are coming to the valley as well." Another real popular one is retirement. If you look at like a lot of the older demographic that's coming from, let's say, a California, for example, the retirement place in California forever used to be Palm Springs. Now Palm Springs is a little bit too, what's the word? Coachella-y, I guess, is the way that I should put it. A lot of people not liking all the Airbnbs, all the music festivals, and all that kind of stuff that's happening inside of those areas. So you have a place like Arizona, a couple hours farther, same weather, same style of living, which is really, really, really valuable. Now, a lot of those people are snowbirds, so they're probably going to leave here very soon. But that's a really, really popular reason as to why people are coming. Now, being closer to family isn't necessarily a thing as to why people are moving to Arizona, but it's why people are moving. With everything that happened during COVID, one thing that people found out is I can work remote. And a lot of companies are giving their employees the opportunity to work remote. So a lot of people are taking that opportunity to move somewhere to be closer to family. And then lifestyle change. I mean, if you look at the way we live out in Arizona versus, I'll just keep using Southern California as an example, versus the way they live in Southern California, it's very different. Or if you look at the way we live versus the way like a New York lives, it's a very different style of living. Arizona is very commonly known as a resort style living kind of area. And we do live in that way, and we do have a lot of amenities and a lot of things going for us that promote a really nice lifestyle. Sharon?
Yeah. So I want to make a comment on that, and maybe Mindy can also chime in a little bit on that, because the lifestyle. Obviously, we sell lifestyle here. We do. Would you say, Mindy, too, in your opinion, the lifestyle, like what I think they're almost categories of lifestyle. There's in my opinion, there's that lifestyle of retirement lifestyle. a very family-oriented lifestyle, right? I mean, you tell me what your thoughts are. I'm curious.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm a native of Arizona. So I've obviously been here my whole life. And I've seen so much change. Like Javier mentioned, we have been growing for 30 years and we're constantly changing. And I think one of the things that's really beautiful about Arizona is that we do pack so many different options for people into one area. So we do have a huge retirement population. We've got a ton of communities. We call it the S Corridor. Down south of Chandler, you've got Sun Lakes and Springfield Lakes and several of those active adult communities. You've got them on the west side. You've got them on the far east side. Then you have, leisure or luxury. So you've got a huge golfing community. You have a huge shopping and dining and restaurant community. And then you do have kind of the family focus that you're talking about. So we've got more parks per capita in Chandler and Gilbert than we have in any other cities across the state. You've got high employment sectors. So Phoenix was traditionally your primary employment sector. Now you've got Chandler, who's really leading the charge in the IT and the tech sort of space. You still have Phoenix heavy in banking. You've got parts of the East Valley sectors that are home to some of the largest healthcare providers in the country. And so there are a lot of reasons why people are moving here. And, one of the things that Javier mentioned is sort of the affordability concept. And it may feel, especially to people like me who are from here, that we're not as affordable, right, as we used to be. But when you look at the affordability index, actually 62.8% of what is sold can be purchased by a family making the median income. And so that's actually a very high number. Now, it may not be in the areas you want to live, or it may not be a large enough home for what you want for your family, but there are housing opportunities for people living in the majority of the income ranges here in Arizona. And it's not like that everywhere. In the areas that Javier is talking about, those other big cities that are having a huge draw for people, it is not as affordable as it is to live here.
Yeah. And Javier, I'm going to also say one other comment here, that be closer to family. I thought for sure you're going to put to move away from family, not to be closer to family.
I am far enough. So my family's in Southern California. They're in LA. I'm far enough to where they can't come out here and just bother me for whatever reason. Although my grandpa and uncle kind of did that yesterday. But I'm close enough to where if there's an important event, like my brother's graduation in next month, I can go home. I can make those kinds of major events. So I'm close enough to where it works. But one other thing I would add to the lifestyle that Mindy kind of brought up, Mindy was talking about the sectors, right? Those sectors are not very far from each other. A lot of out-of-state people kind of describe Phoenix as, well, you're kind of 20 minutes away from everything. You kind of really are. I went across the county the other day in 45 minutes. I was born and raised in LA. That is an anomaly to me. I can have multiple meetings in different sectors. I can go to Goodyear and Chandler in the same day and be okay. Southern California, I can't do that. I can't go to LA and then say, oh, you know what? I want to go down to Orange County today. Like that's not a possible task. So there's a lot of positive things that we have going for us in Arizona. My house, I look at, it would be $200,000 more expensive in some of the places that we're gonna talk about here on the next slide. If you could move to that next slide, Dena. So obviously, the number one place that people are leaving is California, and moving. I mean, in reference to moving to Arizona, right? We have a big population that's moving here from California. Couple of things that I look at there: housing prices, not just that, rent. I mean, my sister's rent in Hollywood was more expensive than my mortgage, and she was sharing a room with 3-4 other people, or sharing an apartment with 3-4 other people. That's just ridiculous to me. Then you have Chicago. I know a lot of people that have moved here from Chicago. That's a really, really popular place that people are leaving. You have Colorado, more in particular in Colorado, Denver. Is a really popular place. You have Washington, you have Oregon. Now, those are the most popular places that people are moving to and coming to Arizona. Not to say we don't have other places. I was looking at some of the the data analytics yesterday, and we have a lot of people that are moving from Texas to Arizona, from Florida to Arizona. So you also have people that are going from a similar lifestyle coming here for a specific reason. Florida, Arizona, Texas, we're all fairly open. During COVID, we were fairly open during COVID. So it's kind of a little mix and interchanging of things like that as well. But all of these things have similar things in common. Outside of California, you have not the best weather, cold, pretty gloomy, really high cost of living. A lot of these places have been fairly locked down. If you're looking at like the last year, all of those places, California in particular, and especially Oregon, had some things that didn't really go very well for them. You also look at a California in the last few years, a lot of fires, major fires. We don't really have that issue here. I mean, the deadliest thing that I've been through here is a haboob where I had to pull over on the side of the road or something like that. Nothing too crazy. But these are all high cost areas where you have prices that don't seem to look like they're gonna flatten out or go down anytime soon. You have a downtown LA that is rapidly growing through hardcore gentrification in some of those areas. Sharon, did you have something?
Yeah, well, a comment you were making too about the high price in California. You take those folks, they're moving here. We're seeing these rapid increase in prices going, oh my gosh, I would never buy a home for this price in this area. They're coming over here going, this is a steal. What are you talking about? I can buy this for $500,000 when it was, $300,000 last year. And we're sitting here going, are you kidding me right now? And they're like, hey, sign me up.
And I think a lot of people, though, are erroneously attributing the rise in our prices just to the fact that people are coming from other states that have a higher price point than ours. So you're hearing a lot of this, like, don't fill in the blank state, my state, right? You have a lot of this happening on social media right now. And I think what people need to remember is that, one, Arizona has always been a desirable place to come. If you look at real estate prices time over time, with the exception of the market crash, which impacted obviously far outside of Arizona alone, our prices have steadily inclined time over time. And so this is nothing new that we're having migration here. There's obviously different reasons, which Xavier will talk about and has started to talk about. And certainly there are people that are coming here with more cash, like Sharon said, and seeing our prices as a steal. But the truth of the matter is everybody has more cash right now. People who have owned properties in Arizona have more cash. Yeah. They're making more off of their house than they are from their job in the last year, right? They've got more cash. And that combined with the fact that we don't have enough inventory for people is why our prices are rising.
Absolutely.
Right. And a lot of those people are also leaving because low inventory is not something that's just happening in Arizona. I mean, nationally, we're 33% below where we were last year inventory wise. So you look at a California, well, okay, I have $1 million house and I'm going to sell this house. And all right, well, I'm just going to have to move and buy another overpriced home inside of Southern California, or same thing in like a Denver. And why would I not just go over to Arizona, buy a property $500,000 to $700,000 all cash and still have some money left over to work with? So, there's a lot of reasons as to why people are coming, and there, a lot of places that people are leaving. These are some of the top ones that I would go after, but I would also look at a Florida, at a Texas, where they have similar lifestyles and are coming here because of the growth and opportunity that we have as well. But Dena, if you could go to the next slide. So number one reason I think people are coming, affordability. I mean, Arizona is so affordable. And, a lot of people who live here, like Mindy, growing up here, like Mindy was just stating, Arizona is growing very fast and the cost of living is growing. And it's just going to happen, and it's going to happen in most places. But for me, being a Southern California boy, I look at the affordability out here like, oh my gosh, like even though things are still rapidly increasing, I pay so much less here than I would ever pay in like a California. Now, you also look at some of the other people that are leaving some of these states, right? Taxes. It's a big thing. You come to Arizona, you move your business here, or you get your mailing address here, you still have your business there. You save so much more money in taxes that a lot more things become affordable. Lifestyle. My grandparents came out to Arizona, to Bullhead more specifically, for New Year's, just so that they could go eat out at a restaurant, because that's not an opportunity that they had in California. Lifestyle is a big thing here. We do live a great lifestyle. 9 months out of the year, we have fantastic weather where we can do almost whatever we want. And in the summer, it's a little too hot, so you just go jump in the pool or something like that. There's nothing that's really stopping you from doing what you want here. Now, we may not have like a Disneyland, but you go 2 hours north, you have great weather in Flagstaff. You can drive 2 hours and get to Sedona. You can go visit Tucson if you wanted to. I kind of want to go see that massive, what's it called? Park where they have all the planes. It looks kind of cool. So there's a lot of things, that are attracting people here, but also jobs. Jobs is a big reason as to why people are moving here. So you combine jobs with affordability and the ability to work remote. So it's not just new companies coming here. It's also the fact that I can come here, I can work remote, and I can live an affordable lifestyle. And we also have retirement. So, those are the primary reasons as to why people are coming. But there are a lot of things that are attractive about an Arizona. So if you look at affordability and lifestyle and the weather is honestly a massive misconception here. Massive. My brother didn't want to go to ASU because it's too hot. And I'm like, bud, you're only going to be in the hot weather a month and a half out of the year. Outside of that, it's going to be in the 70s or 80s the rest of the year. And you don't really have that in a lot of places. If you looked at some of the states that people were leaving, I'll just reference them real quick. Colorado gets pretty cold, very snowy. Chicago gets pretty cold. Washington gets pretty cold. Oregon gets pretty cold. And in Washington and Oregon, you probably don't see the sun very much. And here you see the sun 364 days a year.
I don't think you can underestimate the impact of weather in Arizona. It's not only the lifestyle, all the components that you talk about, it's also the impact to our business and our economy. So there aren't times of the year where you can't physically go outside because it's snowing, right? We don't have parts of the year where we're unable to do business or unable to operate in sectors because of what's happening in the weather. We also don't have a list of natural disasters. So the IT companies love having their data centers here because it's safe, right? They're not worried about rolling blackouts. They're not worried about tornadoes. They're not worried about flooding. They're not worried about these kinds of things. So the weather is huge, not only for us from a lifestyle perspective, but when you talk about the impediments to businesses and sort of your daily operations, I really think you can't underestimate the importance of having good weather in an economy.
I 100% agree, because I went to New York in the winter and, you couldn't do anything. It was snowing. You couldn't leave. So businesses suffered from that. There's only a couple other places that really, Southern California is kind of the only other place that you can look at and say, we can be open 12 months of the year and not really have business or anything like that affected. The other thing I would say that I didn't put on the list that I just kind of thought of right now is space. We have a lot of space here, and we have a lot of opportunity to move out, so we don't have to build up. San Francisco is having a problem where they can't sell their not their townhomes, their condos, because COVID brought people together and said, oh, we're too close. I need more space. That's a big component that we have going for us as well, because Arizona is not building up. We are building out, and we have unlimited space to be able to do that. And our freeways, our street system is awesome. Yesterday at 3 o'clock, I drove my uncle to the airport and we had no traffic, zero. There were a lot of cars on the road, but no traffic. You can't do that in California. like you just can't. If my dad didn't go with me a couple months ago to go pick up my car from being serviced, it would have taken me 3 hours to go 55 miles. Stuff like that is just insane that happens in some of these other places where we have a huge advantage in that sense. But I would primarily be focusing on Southern California. If it were me, that's where our biggest migration pattern is coming from. Now, to target like a certain zip code, a certain area, that would be close to impossible. But if you look at some of the things that I mentioned, why they're coming, why they're leaving, you can do marketing based off of that very broadly and hit a lot of areas on like a social media. I wouldn't be trying to find a subdivision and send postcards. Although if you find a family that's moving out here, they probably talk to their neighbors. Maybe I would circle prospect the last address that they moved from in like a Southern California. But I would advertise the benefits of moving to an Arizona versus trying to target a specific area. Because trying to target a specific area in Southern California or even a Denver, which is pretty large, Oregon is massive. I mean, it's also spread out there too in terms of the different counties. But that's what I would be doing. I'd be advertising affordability, lifestyle, and the fact that we have phenomenal weather 9 months out of the year. We have 3 months that really suck. It's not pleasant. It's not fun to go outside, but I tell my family, I kind of try and live the summer like it's COVID. I just don't go outside, stay in my house. And if I have to go somewhere, I'm taking an extra shirt with me. But for the most part, everybody's on the same page in the summer. Hey, I'm showing up. I'm sweating. It is what it is because it's hot. But outside of that, Arizona is awesome. And I tell everybody, I don't think I'm ever leaving. It's coming from one of those places that you really start to see the benefits over time of being in a place like Arizona that has so much growth, has so much opportunity. And to me, I haven't really even scratched the surface. We still have so much more space to grow.
Absolutely. Hey, Dena, do you want to touch a minute on what if our viewers want to target some of these areas? Do we have the resource to do that? Is that
absolutely? So we didn't really want to get into like the system of how this data was discovered. We've done a bunch of research to come up with the slides that we shared with you guys. But for those of you who would like the opportunity to do a deeper dive into the system so that you can really see where these folks are coming from and then come up with a really good targeted approach to connect with them in strategic ways like Javi was mentioning, which I think are really great ideas. We are going to have a class and dive into Fidelity Farm June 22nd at 2 p.m. So I will drop the link below in the comments once we are off so you guys can register for that. And for those of you guys who are already working with our sales team and have an account, I would highly encourage you to also jump on there because there are a bunch of new features we would love to show you.
Yeah, perfect. And that's the, thank you, Dena. That's great. I'm glad that we've got a class set up to do that. And that really just to let you all know that we're not telling you this information just to go, okay, now what do I do with it? We absolutely have the resource and resources available to make this a success for you on your targeting and be very strategic about your farming and what you're doing and not just blank.
And that was a great tip that Javier said too about if you've got a client that recently moved here from another state, target marketing maybe that neighborhood, whether it's circle prospecting. Hey, we just helped one of your neighbors relocate. You don't know what kind of relationships are built in that community. You don't know who you might strike. Obviously, if you're in this industry, you certainly can help people with referrals in their own area. And so I would probably partner with someone before you make those calls to get a little bit of an idea about what's happening in their real estate market so that when you call, if you can't help someone relocate here, you know enough to help make a connection for somebody there. That also helps to build your business with those out-of-state referring agents so that you can make a seamless transition for more clients coming this way. I think those are huge business building tips, and the tools that Fidelity has and the fact that they go outside of Arizona allow you to implement any of those kind of strategies, whether it's building referral business or helping out-of-state clients relocate. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, totally agreed. Awesome. Well, this is great information. And Dena, I don't know if any of you have questions and you're on our Facebook Live, feel free to put them in there, and we will jump back into those questions. But the resource we're talking about here and where the data is coming from, it is serious data, guys. It is serious data, and data is king today. So having the right partner out there with your Fidelity sales executive to help get you that data is going to really make you accelerate in the industry and get those transactions that you need. So please reach out. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. Javi, thank you so much for you're going to hang out with us, right, for a while, or are you?
I'm gonna hang out. I just have one other comment on the data.
Go ahead.
Data is data. Data is a list of things. Not only is the Fidelity sales exec going to help you get that data, but also help you use it. Because having a list of names and addresses is all great, but if you don't know what to send them, that list is nothing. So, I can help you get that data through our system in all of these other states, but your Fidelity sales executive is going to help walk you through that process of, okay, great, Javier, help me get this list of people through the system. Now, what do I do? And that's the biggest thing that I get with a list of data is someone asks me, great, Javier, what do I do with it? And that's where I think the Fidelity sales exec is going to really help you shine that marketing. It's by helping you out with that process.
Yeah, no, I love that. If you don't implement, why bother having the data? It's just going to sit there and do nothing. It does nothing. So
doing it good.
Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes that we do that. We get busy and we just sit there and go, oh, now I have it and I'll do something with it at some point. But data is also fragile and it's a bit time sensitive as well. So that's where, acting on it immediately with your sales executive is going to be really important. So yeah, please hang with us, Javi. We're going to hear a great market update and some mortgage information. I'm sure you've got some things that maybe you're going to want to chime in on that too, and absolutely feel free to. Let's go ahead and transition. Amber Kovarik, manager at Guild Mortgage and rock star mortgage friend of mine. And we joke around all the time. My youngest daughter is named after Amber, believe it or not. This is how long I've known her. So very dear, good friend of mine, and love being on this with her every week. So Amber, I was telling them earlier before you were on here that, we joke around every week and say free money, but honestly, in the 3%, it's still pretty free. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of interest rate to get money at. So tell us what's going on. Yeah,
they're insanely low, and we're seeing a lot of the refinance activity pick back up. You would have thought that most people refinanced last year, but there's still so much opportunity out there for clients to pull cash out, to eliminate debt, to put them into a better financial position. We're talking to a lot of clients about pulling cash out with how low interest rates are to remodel and improve their home. So just a lot of options right now in regards to refinancing, especially to clients who bought in the last year or two with mortgage insurance on their loan, where now their property values have gone up so much that we can refinance them to eliminate their mortgage insurance. So even if the rate savings isn't there, as long as the payment savings is there, then it could make sense for them. So interest rates are still phenomenal. We saw the interest rates tick up yesterday a little bit just because the stock and the bond market got worse due to the detailed Fed minutes being released. And there was a little bit of commentary in there about some of the Fed governors talking about they should start talking about a tapering plan. So the markets got super spooked about that, overreacted. Bonds sold off, stocks sold off. Since then, now we're both back up. The bond market is back where it was prior to the sell-off, so it was a silly deal. So I'm glad that the markets realized that it was silly. We've gotten some not as favorable news reports since the Fed meeting a couple weeks ago, and so it's pretty clear that they're not going to be able to taper anytime soon. The jobless claims came in this morning, and it was, again, the lowest level that they've had since the pandemic at 444,000, but not where they want it to be. I mean, clearly our housing market does not have enough jobs for the people that want to go back to work. So until we start to see a lot of recovery, there shouldn't be any tapering. We should continue to see interest rates in these high 2s to mid 3s, somewhere in this range. And I think it could be fairly volatile. Like, I think we'll see rates, go up and down a little bit as we get these different news reports, and the market just tries to feel out how comfortable they are with where we're at right now, because it's kind of an interesting time where they know eventually rates are going to go up because the Fed will taper and pull out of their mortgage-backed security. They just don't know when. And so how much do they want to be buying in a market where there's that kind of uncertainty? So time will tell, but otherwise we're in just a super strong interest rate market, and just continuing to help strategize with our clients on how to help them win offers right now. It is a big task to make sure that when a client's out there shopping, that they're shopping with the knowledge that they need to go in and confidently make an offer. Because if you're just, have a loan estimate from a bank or a credit union and a pre-qual letter, I mean, good luck. Like, you really need right now a plan of like, how are you going to attack this market? But we're seeing a lot of success. We're in it to win it with our clients, and we're up for the challenge of this market. And I keep reminding people, like, when they say, oh, this market is so hard, I think I just want to sit on the sidelines for a while, especially some of my realtor partners are like, I'm over this. And I'm like, it may be hard, but if we say it's hard, and if we say there's no homes to buy, and if we say no inventory, and we will get all of those things. So it's really like a mindset thing right now. So instead of saying everything's hard, is to say it's challenging, but I'm up for the challenge. Like, I can conquer this. And even when you say those things like, oh, it's hard, your body language just kind of like, but when you say this market's challenging and I can compete in this market, I can win, I'm up for it, you just instantly have a better energy. You're going to attract more to you, which you're going to have more wins. So
I love that.
And what message would you rather be out there sharing? That it's challenging but profitable, or that it's a crappy market? I mean, the truth of the matter is that there's no bad news right now. We've talked about this before. There is so much opportunity for people in this market. And I think anything in life that has a really large reward carries with it a fair amount of work that has to go into potentially obtaining that reward. And I think this market is a perfect example of, it may not be for everybody. Not everybody might have the tenacity or the time or the mental capacity or the emotional capacity to deal with what's happening in this market, but that doesn't mean it's a bad market. And so if you sit on the sidelines, I don't know what else you could be waiting for. You want to be operating in a good market or not a good market?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all relative too, Mindy. I mean, think about it. I mean, the market's always shifting to a different type of market. The market's only what you make of the market, right? I mean, do you think that there is agents that were hugely successful in 2007 and 2008. And yes, it was very hard to walk in and people are crying and losing their houses, but they still did their business. You're in real estate, it's your career. So you figure out how to make that work in the market we're in, So it just, and you're right. I mean, interest rates are at all time low. I mean, it's opportunity is knocking, and the circle prospecting that Javi was speaking of the resource that we have here, Fidelity Farm. Oh my goodness, the circle prospecting in that is outstanding. You can get with your sales executive, actually be targeting the right people and not just blatantly going out there trying to spending a bunch of money you don't have to spend or knocking on a bunch of doors you don't have to knock on.
We just did the call frenzy with Dawn last week. And in 1 hour, they set 12 appointments, just cold calling off of the right list of people that, are showing through analytics their potential to sell. So 1 hour, 12 appointments. So yes, like, go out there, activity breeds activity. So if you're doing activity, business will come. If you decide to sit on the sidelines because it's too hard, then it will not come, and it will be exactly that, it will be hard. So.
And one quick point, just to something that Amber said, is cash out refi, buying a home as a tool. So, and I think that's something that a lot of young people should look at. A lot of younger buyers is, buying a home as a tool. And, you know, I bought a house, and when I bought my house last year, my roof was in shambles. Like the whole roof had to be redone. I think I bought my house, and 2 days later I was spending, you know, 10 grand to fix my roof. Well, with the way the market's gone, I also redid my backyard and some other things, did a cash out refi, and have paid off all that debt. So now I have an improved home with an improved value and no more debt from it. And so using that as a resource, maybe to improve the value of your home, pay off some student loan debt, pay off some other debt that you have, with rates staying this low and the increasing rise of equity and how fast homes are appreciating here with low inventory, is something that should, you know, younger people should for sure be looking at.
Well,
and that goes back to something that we've talked about before, which is having a larger financial conversation around what's happening in the real estate market and the opportunity that's providing. We've talked about how, you know, they're building these large apartment complexes with a price tag of $2,500 or $3,000 a month to rent in them. That's creating this lifestyle. You know, there's a Starbucks downstairs and a dog park in your front yard. And I mean, you've got everything that you need. And then we're trying to take those people and put them in a house where, even though they may be paying less, they've got to redo the countertops and they've got to put in back, you know, and it's hard for them to see the value proposition if we're only talking about granite countertops versus laminate countertops. But if we're truly being consultants and having a conversation about the financial components, I wasn't lying before, right? People have made more on their house in the last year than many of them made at their salary job. I mean, we're talking about an opportunity to make a significant amount of money with a fairly small investment up front. And I think that whole financial conversation we have to be having, and that requires having a lender like Amber who can really go into detail with them on their financials, and then we can kind of talk about the opportunity overall.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot with Amber as far as working with a mortgage professional that actually will be strategic about what they're doing. Because I mean, some of the stories that Amber shared with us through Market of the Moment every week blows my mind on the things on how strategic her and her team are on strategizing with these folks. Okay, well, you're told no, but actually we can do this or that, and they're able to make it turn into a transaction. So important that you pick your right partners out there. Awesome, Amber, thank you for that. And we'll keep in tune and hear what's going on week by week, and hopefully those rates just keep staying there and that nice 3 level through the year, which it kind of sounds like maybe it's going to, but hopefully we'll stay in that space. Mindy, what's going on in the Maricopa County, Phoenix, and housing inventories and things like that? I know we ticked up a bit, so where are we at now, like this week? What does that look like?
We have, yeah. And actually, we've talked about a few really important things today already, as we talked about affordability and where we sit from an affordability perspective as compared to some of our counterparts and some of the folks that are moving here. You know, your family making a median income of $79,000 can still afford about 63% of what we have on the market. And it's not like that everywhere. And so I think while it's very challenging for buyers right now who are having to come out of pocket often with more cash than they ever anticipate having to do at closing, they've got to get a little more creative with their lender partners about the right way to get into a home up front. There is still opportunity in the market. And I think that that's really the message that we need to make sure that we're sharing with people, because I think one of the reasons that people are sort of pulling back from the market, which is also a really healthy thing to do, and we've talked about that before, it is okay that people are kind of skeptical as long as they're reaching out to the right information partners to get sort of the true updates about what's actually happening in the market. But just the feeling of pulling back, or just the feeling of being concerned about the market overall, that's a really healthy sort of indication that the market will respond kind of to how people respond, right? But the fact that we have really good affordability in Arizona, it is an important message to share. You know, the sellers certainly aren't going to notice that uptick in inventory that you talked about, Sharon. We are seeing it, and we're now about in week 9 or 10 of seeing an increased amount of inventory. So we're down about 63% year over year. But if we look at our active listing counts, we're sitting right around 4,500 or so, which is actually right about where we were last quarter. So up until last quarter, we had continued to see a decline month over month over month. And that sort of stopped and we've reversed course. So again, while sellers aren't going to feel that quite yet, because you've got 4,500 listings for a population of over 5 million people, it's an important note. So CoreLogic last year said that 2021, our prices in Arizona would drop by about 6.5%. And all of us were thinking, well, how is that even possible? We don't have enough houses for people. We're appreciating at a fairly fast pace. And in fact, in the last month, we've appreciated 5.6% in a single month, 9% in 2 months, which is wild, right? But we knew, how is that even possible? And so it's really important that folks are paying attention to their local experts that are sharing with them the actual numbers. And also, sellers are asking us to tell them when the tides are going to change, right? Everyone's trying to time this market. The same's on the mortgage side, right? They're trying to ask Amber, when are things going to change? When are things going to change? And here's the first real indication that we're starting to see some trends changing. Sellers aren't going to feel it, but you've got to be looking at the data. And if we have continued increase in active listings, that is going to naturally slow the pace of appreciation. So if you're trying to get up on the market and you're looking for when you start to see these initial tide changes, this is definitely one of them. Because in the summer in Arizona, our active listing count is typically going down. Right? We've typically hit our peak of listings as we start to heat up here in Arizona. And so the fact that the current trend is going against your typical cyclicality of the market, if you will, or seasonality of the market, is something to pay attention to. Doesn't mean prices are going to go down, but it means your selling environment has a potential to be different, and also that there is some additional opportunity for buyers. So for me, those are the big statistics that we're watching right now. We're also keeping an eye on what our iBuyers are doing. I think people think that they're a huge part of our market because they see a ton of billboards and mailers and advertisements on TV. And really, if we look at their purchasing, so they purchased 373 homes in April of 2021. So that's out of 4,500 or 5,000 available on the market. So there's still a small component of the market, very important as a solution. So definitely something that when you're talking with your real estate agent, you should explore as an option. But I think you should look at them just as that, as a solution. And I think one last thing that I would share is, as we look at the appreciation and kind of the changes in appreciation, and again, talking about what opportunity people might have that they don't know that they have, our average dollar per square foot across the valley is about $250 a square foot, which is kind of crazy already, right? If you're from here, that's super high. And some of that's being skewed by really good luxury sales. And so when you've got $300, $400, $500 a square foot, obviously that brings up your average quite a bit. But if you look at the average being $250 square foot, did you know that there are 10 cities in Arizona that you can buy a house for $100 a square foot less than the average and still get 18 to 20% appreciation annually? Did you know that?
I didn't know that, and I'd love to know what that is at some point.
Right. And I'll share a couple of them with you, because it does go back to Javier's point about us having space and places to go. I wouldn't say that it's limitless, but we're building out for sure. Right. There is definitely space. But this is really important, because when you share this message, one, you could be giving some great tips to a person, a primary homeowner or an investor. But what you're also doing, again, is saying that this market has opportunity. Mm-hmm. And in markets that are not healthy, there isn't opportunity. And that isn't what we're experiencing here. So I'll just give you one as an example. Maricopa, okay, Maricopa, $133 a square foot on average. Okay, so that's $120 a square foot less than average. Mm-hmm. And their appreciation is 19.8%.
Wow. Wow.
So is there a place that you can go that you can get in for a smaller investment up front and still make a significant amount of appreciation, faster appreciation than Chandler and Gilbert? Yes, it exists. And there's 10 of those.
And really, you can still drive clear across from Maricopa to Avondale in how much time? I mean, what's it, going back to Javier's point, right? This is not like Orange County and San Francisco or anything. I mean, this is like, you can do this.
And it may be different than where you were looking before, but when you look at the geography, it is an accessible place. So it's no different if you work in Chandler and you live in North Phoenix, right? It's going to take you longer to get to Chandler than it would from Maricopa to Chandler. So I think what we've got to start doing is looking at the whole map and determining what opportunities exist for you in all these places, and how do you create your lifestyle? What does that lifestyle look like if you have to drive further to get there? And people from Arizona, we're just not used to that, right? Where it's like, I don't want to drive more than a block to get to a gas station, 2 blocks for a grocery store and 3 for a Target. Otherwise you're put, right? But this is mindset stuff, right? I also would like to make a couple $100,000 on my house in the next couple of years and be able to move to something bigger. So, I mean, I just think it's a bigger conversation that this is forcing us to have.
I love that you brought that up, because to me, 30 minutes to get somewhere is that's nice. If I can get somewhere in 30 minutes, for me, that's awesome. So, having a little bit of a longer commute to work or something like that, when you have the opportunity to make this kind of money with a 19% appreciation, which is unheard of. Like that's ridiculous. 19% in an area that is new and is growing. It is kind of like far away from things. That's not something you typically hear. So, instead of looking for that perfect home, buy this home. It's a little bit farther, a little bit of commute from work. It's okay. It's 20, 30 minutes. You'll be fine. And you still get the benefits of home ownership, which isn't just the appreciation. There's a lot of things that come with that as well.
Well, and some of the fastest appreciations over the years, now I don't know if this is still the case today, is generally new homes as well, right? And these outskirt areas, as we're saying, we're building out, that's where the builders are all building these new homes, because that's where the land is, right? So, they're new communities too, which is really nice. It's not like you're buying something that's been there forever and ever and ever either. These, even though the area is not maybe fully developed yet, when the homes come, so will the Targets and the grocery stores and the gas stations and things like that.
And I think people are starting to recognize, or continuing to recognize, the other features that these locations serve, right? So if you look at Apache Junction, for example, you compare Apache Junction and Mesa. Mesa typically has had a higher rate of appreciation than Apache Junction. Apache Junction just recently overtook Mesa. And,
Wow.
a couple of reasons that could be is, have you ever seen the views in Apache Junction of the Superstition Mountains? I mean, it's absolutely stunning out there. The horse properties that are available out there at a lower dollar per square foot than your Scottsdale counterpart, they're great opportunities for people. And so I think, really taking a look at what you're trying to accomplish, what serves you and your family the best, what goals do you have financially over the next few years that can be served by investing in real estate or by making changes in real estate, and really opening up your eyes to the opportunities that we have in Arizona that other states just do not have. I think it becomes clear very quickly that there might be some place for you to make right now.
Yeah. Well, and who'd have thought that we're sitting here talking about one of the most desirable places right now that I'm hearing is Queen Creek, right? I mean, we haven't talked about Queen Creek in years and years and years and years. I don't know, not in conversations I've been involved in. And you can't buy a house, I think, I just heard under 500 in Queen Creek or something, which is unbelievable.
I mean, it's changing. It's always changing, right? I mean, being from here, I remember we would go to Cave Creek as a kid for lunch at like the Mexican food restaurant up there. And it was like a day trip. Yeah. I mean, it was like a thing, like you're going to Cave Creek, like it's a whole thing, right? And when I used to go to my dad's house in Chandler from Phoenix as a kid, we'd roll down the windows and you'd stick your hand outside. And the first one to know you were in Chandler because you felt the temperature drop by 10 degrees. I mean, these are not stories that you hear anymore because we've grown so much. Now we're talking about the growth in Arizona City and Tonopah and Levine and Tolleson and Florence and Casa Grande and Avondale and Eloy and Buckeye. Like, there's room to grow, and we're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, we're very fortunate as a state that we have the opportunity to do that. So
and
thank you.
the constant ability to work remote is going to help that. I think you're going to see a lot of businesses and major corporations say, you know what, you don't have to come in every single day. Come in once a week, come in twice a week. So that 30, 20-minute drive, hour drive, if that's it, makes it not look as bad when you can get a better house for a better price and still have that luxury of, okay, I'm in the office once, twice a week, maybe half the week, and I can still be at home. And so that makes that commute and that ability to work remote help those kinds of places as well. And I just think that over time, that's going to continue to grow, because as a company, why would I pay so much overhead for an office and all that kind of stuff when employee happiness is better at home? Just works out.
Yeah, as long as the productivity is there, you're 100% correct. And I think certain industries have show more productivity, some show questionable, so I think it comes down to the productivity too. So, well, thank you guys. Such great information. I'd love to spend just our last couple minutes here on any upcoming events, anything we want to share. Mindy, I know you've got always great stuff going on. Amber, anything in your world? Dena, maybe anything on the Fidelity side that you want to mention? Yeah.
I've got two, so I'll go first. So I am on the Women Empowered Committee of the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, and we are doing an event next week on the 25th. It is a luncheon where we are talking about finding the philanthropist in you, making it super accessible. It's going to be at the DoubleTree by Hilton. And as sponsors, we are offering free tickets. So if you are watching this and you want to come to the luncheon next week, it's going to be so fun. All you have to do is email us at info@amyjonesgroup.com, and we will absolutely get you a ticket to be there. So that'll be super fun. Fantastic. And then on the following week, on June 4th, on a Friday at 9 a.m., we're doing our third Women in Leadership breakfast, and it's going to be at Parlay Kitchen and Cocktails in Chandler. You get an amazing, trust me, delicious breakfast. We'll also have a guest speaker who's going to be talking about honoring your time and really showing up for yourself as we enter into the second half of the year. So both awesome events, no cost to you. All you have to do is contact me and we'll get you in.
Fantastic. And you're such a great representation in our community as far as the women in leadership, Mindy. And I'm super excited to hear about the speaker that you've got coming up, and great event. Don't miss out, guys. That's really a special thing to be involved in. No matter where you're at, what company you're with, it's a great thing to come here. It's about women and leadership. So, Javi, were you going to say something? I'm sorry. I thought I heard. Okay. Amber?
Wants to know if you can come.
Oh, did you ask if you can come? Of course you can.
I'm happy.
It doesn't.
I'll make sure I bring a rock with me.
You're gonna love on your rock. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that me and Dena have that class on the 22nd. So make sure you reach out to your Fidelity sales exec to learn how you can get some of that info on those out-of-state buyers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll drop the flyer and the link in the comments on this Facebook Live later after we're not live anymore. We also have next week our new home happenings. So every month we feature different new home builders and subdivisions and kind of talk about what's happening over there. And some of them have inventory, and with the lack of inventory, it's definitely good to know the product. So we are going to be talking all things Vistancia next week, Wednesday, and I can drop that link in the comments as well.
Well, and it's so important to keep in tune what your builders are doing, guys, because even if they don't have current inventory, they may have other phases that are getting ready to be launched. And if you're not in the loop that's coming, you might just miss out when that inventory hits. So it's really key to keep in touch with the builders and what's going on with their communities and their inventories. So great, Dena. Thank you. And thanks, Javi.
Of course.
Amber, what's going on in your world?
Just if you like the idea of prospecting and doing a call frenzy night with us, shoot a message, let us know you want in, and we'll let you know the next date for it.
Guys, that is, if you want to increase your business today, like literally today, increase your business, get with Amber, get with Dawn, put together a call frenzy. Absolutely, you will see transactions immediately. So if
listings
you are
too, the ones you want. Yeah.
What's that?
Listings. The transactions you want right now.
Listings, guys, listings. If you want listings, who doesn't want listings today? Okay. Absolutely, you're going to want to put together a call frenzy. There's no excuses. You're going to get results every single time we've done one with Amber and Dawn. Every single time, and Mindy's done them, there has been results and there's been listings had. So take advantage of that opportunity. We're here to help you and help grow your business. Thank you to all these wonderful folks for spending an hour here of their time. Amber, love always your mortgage update. Mindy, incredible knowledge industry. I appreciate you being here and sharing with us every single week. Dena, thanks for being here and joining us for the first time. Love it. And Xavier, always great seeing you and you sharing all your great knowledge of your data and how incredible it is. So to all of our friends that joined us on Facebook, have a great day and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next Thursday at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.